About killed my foot on the chair. Guys, how's it going out there today? I hope you've had a great week. So I had a request in my last video from Robert asking if I could do a comparison between the Canon 8-bit files on the EOS R and my Fuji XT3's 10-bit files. Robert, I will more than gladly do that today because I'm curious myself as to how the Canon holds up. Most people know that with the 8-bit compared to 10-bit, you do have a little bit more flexibility. You can push 10-bit a little bit further, but one thing that I found whenever I was shooting this footage this week was the 8-bit files really hold up, and I'm gonna jump into Premiere, kind of show you guys that and really look at the waveform. That's one thing that I really like to go by when it comes to grading footage, how far I can push it, just to see if everything's holding up. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into Premiere Pro, see what these things look like against each other. Alright guys, so we are in Premiere Pro now and just going to look at some comparisons between the Canon 8-bit files and the Fuji 10-bit files. Now I've already graded these. I'm going to go ahead and turn off all of my corrections for the Fuji. I've already done it with Canon. And I want to show you guys something that really happens on the waveform that's pretty interesting to me. So if we look at the Fuji files and the 10-bit, right here obviously we have a fairly flat image. Once we start adding in our corrections to get that thing widened back out with dynamic range and get everything graded, it's a clean image. Our histogram or our waveform's looking clean over here. The image itself is looking clean as well. I'm loving the 10-bit files from the Fuji. I always have. The only thing that I really have to do with the Fuji in camera is adjust my tint. Fuji is notorious for having a green tint to its footage, especially when you're shooting f-log. Now, if we come over to the 8-bit file on the Canon EOS R, still a flat image, not as flat as f-log obviously, and that's one thing that I do like about c-log right off the bat is it's not as flat, so it's easier to grade without a bunch of LUTs, without doing a lot to it. So once we start adding in all of our corrections here, what we see on the waveform, is it's pretty as well, and then the Canon C-Log footage is just beautiful. I love the way it looks once it's graded. Now my last video, I actually made a mistake. I did not have my color matrix on C-Log in the neutral profile. I was shooting the EOS original color profile. I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't think the colors look as accurate. One thing that I did want to point out here in the waveform with this C-Log is it looks as if there's a little bit of banding in the image itself. Anytime you see those little lines going across, that means that there is banding present. Now, those are not severe enough for me to have any concern, and as you can see on the image itself, and once it's exported, I have not seen any banding in the footage. That was something that worried me the first time that I graded C-Log. I was like, oh my gosh, it's falling apart, and I've not even done a heavy grade on it. However, you're gonna see there's not any banding in the footage once you export it. So like I said, just comparing the two, once again, the Fuji, there's the Fuji files completely graded. Here are the Canon files completely graded. The waveforms really look the same. I tried to expose them as close as possible to each other, but I'm loving the way that the 8-bit is holding up against the 10-bit. I don't think anyone could go wrong shooting video on the EOS R. Plus you got the full frame look, and I think everyone loves that. Now I do love the way that the Fuji looks, and as I've stated before, it is still a video monster. I believe that, and I just wanted to show you guys really what the waveforms were looking like in the computer when comparing the 8-bit to the 10-bit from the Fuji. All right, so I hope you guys can see that the Canon files really do hold up, even though they are 8-bit compared to 10-bit. And the thing that I mentioned earlier about the C-Log being not as flat, that's an advantage, I believe, because it's easier to grade. There's no LUTs that are needed. It's adding in saturation, adding in your contrast, and grading it to your likings. It's very simple. Now, I know I didn't show my grading process right there. That's gonna be saved for a future video, how I grade the Canon footage, how I grade the Fuji footage as well. Today, I really just wanted you guys to see the comparison between the two, how the Canon 8-bit stacks up, and really get your guys' thoughts. Which one do you think looks best? Do you like the 10-bit from the Fuji? Do you like the 8-bit from the Canon? Can you even tell a difference? And as always, guys, if you like this video, consider liking it, subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. It encourages me to do more videos in the future. Y'all have a great week, and we'll see you.